guys, welcome to another video. Full disclosure, I am making this up as I go. I have another video that I had planned to publish this week, but it's about investing and money, and it's a lot more research heavy than I had anticipated. So it's taking me a little longer, but I never like to go too long without saying hello and checking in, so here we are. Peanut, you gotta push harder. Hold on one second. Come on in. Oh, there he is. Come here. Big jump. Big jump. Come on. Yeah. I love you. Okay. You wanna go lay in your bed? Why are you wet? I don't wanna know. Today I thought I would do a try on, a little fashion show, because I bought a bunch of new workout clothes. And alongside that, I wanted to have a chat about body image issues. And on top of that, I figured maybe we could do like a mental health check-in, talk about that for a few minutes. I had an appointment with my therapist yesterday, I think, and that went, it was interesting. We'll get into it. Remember that these videos are conversations. I love hearing from you in the comments, so please feel free to drop me a note below, even if you just want to say hi. I always love reading your comments, and I do respond to almost everybody. Anyhow, let's try on some outfits. So the reason that I bought a bunch of new clothes for working out was because, and I kind of talked about this a little bit in this video, but a lot of my clothes in general that I have are very, very, very old. And because I'm very frugal, which I talk about in this video, and I don't like to have a lot of stuff anyway, I wear the same things for years, as long as I can. And it's never really bothered me. But I just noticed lately that my gym clothes were starting to get really ratty. And, I've gained weight over the last 10 years, and that's how old some of those clothes are, so they don't fit me anymore. And then they make me feel ugly, and it's a whole thing. So I told myself, Megan, it is time to buy new clothes for the gym. So I did. I won't try them all on because there's too many, but I am gonna try on a few, and I think you guys will be proud of me because I see all these skinny girls on Instagram wearing the cute shorts lately, like the high-waisted shorts, and their thighs don't touch when they walk. And I'm like, well, that's good for you, but thick girls like me, I can't wear that. So I bought it. I bought some cute shorts, and we're gonna try these on, and then I'm going to talk to you about how I hate the way I look in them. But this is gonna be a learning experience for all of us. And I'm doing this because I'm trying to conquer my fears and learn to feel comfortable in clothes that I think are cute but aren't meant for my body. Clothes are meant for anybody. And I'm sticking to it. I'll be right back. Okay, this is the first one. I have to back way up. Way up. But this is cute, right? In the past, I would never be caught dead in anything like this. And I'll show you why. It's because when I sit down, stuff like this happens. And I hyper fixate on it. And we all know that what we see on social media is fake. But still, seeing those images day in and day out of girls who, even girls who are really curvy, they don't have cellulite, they don't have tan lines, they don't have stretch marks. They are beautifully, perfectly curvy in every way. They have thick thighs, they have a big butt, but they have a tiny waist. They don't have back fat, they don't have rolls. And I see them and I think, why do they look like that? And it's because it's not real. But anyhow, as much as you try to not let those, those altered, highly photoshopped images, you can try so hard not to let those sink into your mind and impact your perception of reality. If you're exposed to them enough, that's exactly how you're going to feel and how you're going to think. So I've tried to be more mindful lately of unfollowing people who heavily airbrush their photos. I'm not doing myself any favors here by looking at those all day. And even little things I'm on day 3 of my period. I'm wearing granny panties today. And I just ate lunch. So probably the worst time to be doing this, but this is normal. This is life. And I put these shorts on, and before I recorded it again, I looked in the mirror and I was like, whoa, everyone can see your underwear lines. So what? Oh my God, it's because I'm wearing underwear. Like, what do I expect from myself? So this is the reminder to me and to you that even if you're thick, even if you got the rolls, the cellulite, the dimples, the stretch marks, even if your underwear lines are showing, you can wear the cute shorts. What do I want to try on next? Be right back. Okay, so this is the second pair, and they're definitely not squat proof because I just bent over in front of the mirror and I saw my entire butt. So I'll probably only wear these around the house, but they're really cute. Look at them. Look at them. These are cute and they fit me really well. I've been talking for about 5 to 7 minutes and realized I didn't hit the record button. So now I'm gonna start over. One of the reasons I think I've been dwelling on my body and what I'm eating more than normal lately, well, there's two things. So first of all, I noticed over the last several months that right before I get my period, my anxiety gets really, really, really bad. And then it calms down. So it's okay, it's temporary. And I started my period Monday. So I'm always a little bit of a lunatic right before I get it. But also, last week, my husband was out of the country and we had about a 9-hour time difference. So not only were we apart, but we didn't get to talk all that much. And I was very alone here. And a lot of my old toxic thoughts about food started to sneak back in. I don't think I've ever brought this up on this channel, but for as long as I can remember, I've had a terrible relationship with food, like really bad. I can remember being in 2nd grade and telling my teacher that I needed to go on a diet and lose weight because I was fat. A, I've never been overweight, and B, a 2nd grader shouldn't even know about these things. But as far back as my memory can go, I've thought that I was fat and needed to lose weight and needed to be thinner. And that's not my nature. I'm 5'9", I'm curvy, I have more of an athletic build. I have wide shoulders, wide hips. Like, I'm never gonna be a toothpick, and I've never made peace with that. When I was 16, I was diagnosed with anorexia, exercise bulimia, which is just where you work out to excess, and then what's it called? Body dysmorphic disorder. So basically, you see something completely different from what you actually look like. I dropped down to a very, very, very low weight, way lower than I should ever be. I think I was 118 at my lowest. And then I got healthier. And after the worst of it passed, I, maintained a healthy weight. But I've still remained unhealthy in my mind. Now, my husband, we call each other our accountability buddies. We keep each other accountable and healthy, and we encourage each other to just maintain healthy habits, whether it's having a good meal or not working too late, managing stress. So with him out of town last week and me being completely alone, I didn't have my accountability buddy, and it's on me. I'm not saying that it's because he was gone, everything went to shit. I was alone, like really alone for a while, for the first time in a long time, and it was not good. I just became obsessive about every bite of food I put in my mouth. And then every night I would lay in bed and I would add up every calorie that I ate so I could decide just how much I was gonna hate myself for it and how much I'd have to work out the following day to try to make up for it. And I literally kept myself awake at night with this. And I hated myself and just, looked in the mirror and was disgusted, and all of those little nagging thoughts that I usually keep suppressed all came to the surface. And here I am, 34 years old, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm still dealing with this stuff. It's still there. It still hasn't gone away. And that was like, I got even angrier with myself because I know how illogical it is and I still can't control it. Let's pause and try on something new. Stop everything you're doing because these pants are long enough for me. And it wasn't wasn't just the bad habits with food that got worse when he was gone. So years ago, a therapist that I went to, I was talking to her about racing thoughts. I will think about something, and it can be anything, and I will fixate on it, and I will replay it in my mind over and over and over and over again to the point where I stress myself out. And when I say I stress myself out, I mean my chest gets tight, I can feel my blood pressure going up, my heart speeds up. Sometimes I start to sweat because I have this thought in my brain playing on loop and I can't get my brain to stop. And sometimes it makes it hard to sleep at night. It makes it hard to focus on work, focus on anything. And so this therapist that I was seeing, she brought up OCD, and she said, you know, in obsessive compulsive disorder, obsessive refers to thoughts and compulsive refers to behaviors. And she said that I had the obsessive part of it, so just the thoughts. And that was around the time that I went on antidepressants, and she said this should help with that. And I said, okay, great. And they did a little bit. It took the edge off, but they came right back. We all, when we think of OCD, we have thoughts of people who like have to close the door 3 times or turn the light switch on and off a bunch of times. I definitely, like I already knew I had the compulsive part of it, the habits, the actions, but it's never been too bad. But what I learned when my husband was away is that I was suppressing it because I knew that there was someone around who would see it, so I kind of hid it. And also there are certain things that normally I would compulsively do, like turn the stove off. There are 5 dials on our stove. When I'm checking to make sure the stove is off, I have to check the dials in a specific pattern. And I have to do that pattern several times. When I get going on these things, I have to do everything in multiples of 4. And normally if he's here, I'll start checking the stovetop and I'll be like, oh my God. I'll tell him, you have to do it. And then I walk away and he'll check it. And that works for me. If he checks it, then I don't sweat about it. But he wasn't here. So when he was gone last week, all of those compulsive behaviors came out and I turned into a raging lunatic. It was embarrassing. I'm so glad there are no cameras in our house. They're only outside, because if anybody could replay those cameras and see me, it was bad. I would check the stove 1,000,000 times, check the door 1,000,000 times, as long as it was a multiple of 4. And I even had a few times where I shut down the house, went upstairs, got into bed, and I'm laying there and I'm thinking, did I really do it? Did I really lock that door? Did I really turn off the stovetop? And I knew I did because I checked it 18,000 times. But the thing is, when you have these compulsive behaviors, to me, it's like my brain doesn't believe what my eyes see. My eyes see that the stove is off, but my brain's like, no, that's not good enough. What else you got? So I got out of bed, walked downstairs, did the whole routine all over again. And this is what happens when I'm left alone. And, we both work from home. He doesn't travel very often anymore, thankfully, because I prefer him home. But that was, last week I realized I was like, oh man, I'm still up, which is okay. But it's just very nerve-wracking, especially when you're, in your 30s and you thought that all these habits, you got rid of them, but you didn't. They were just buried a little bit. So fortunately, I had an appointment with my therapist yesterday because I needed to get a refill of my medication anyways. And I started talking to her about this, and I was like, telling her about how I do things in patterns and it has to be multiples of 4 and da-da-da. And she went, oh honey, that's OCD. And I was like, great, let's just add that to the list. I wasn't surprised really because that's not normal behavior, but I think what surprises me about it is that the older I've gotten, the more I've worked on being very self-aware and very good at compartmentalizing my emotions and just trying to know myself as well as I possibly can. And I feel like the more I do that, the more things I find that are wrong with me. It seems so backwards. You think it'd be the other way around, but it's not. Side note, if you haven't tried the pink drink from Starbucks, it's very good. So anywho, we increased my dosage of my antidepressants, and she told me, you know, these pills aren't just for depression, they're also good for anxiety and OCD, and so we're gonna try that and see what happens, because I really don't want to start taking another pill. And they did help with my depression. This medication works for me, so maybe it'll help with the other stuff too. Everyone's so different talking about this stuff, and it's a personal choice whether or not you want to share it. Some people are very hush-hush about it and don't want to talk about mental health or mental illness or anything like that. Personally, I don't really mind talking about it. We are human. We're only human. We're all out here doing our best. When you have issues like this with depression or anxiety or whatever, it's not a choice you're making. There's something in your brain or in your body, your hormones and chemicals and whatever, that's it's controlling you. It's making you do these things. Like, nobody chooses to be clinically depressed. Nobody chooses to have anxiety attacks. So, you know, to me, it's no different than talking about how you have a headache or how you have stomach problems. It's your health, it's your well-being. So I think it's okay to talk about it personally. And also, not so much as an adult, but when I was younger, the compulsive behaviors that I had, I didn't know that that wasn't normal. Also, I'm pretty sure that even as a child, I had some degree of depression. Didn't know that wasn't normal. My obsession with food and being skinny and losing weight, like I said, that goes back as far as I can remember. And it wasn't until, you know, I was much older that I really started to question why I think that way. Our bodies change so much over time. At my absolute lowest, I think I was around 118. When I moved to Vegas, which was about 10 years ago, I weighed 144. And I think I've mentioned on this channel before, I used to be a competitive Olympic weightlifter. And I haven't competed now for a few years, but here's why I bring this up. While I was competing, I was lifting 5 days a week, usually about 2.5 hours a day, lifting heavy weights. Even though I have a slower metabolism and I gain weight very easily, when I was training, I could hardly keep weight on. I was working out so much that I couldn't maintain my weight without eating tons of food. And this went on for about 6 years, I want to say. So for roughly 6 years, I got real cozy, eating a lot of food and being very lean. But then I stopped competing. I left my relationship, my 5-year relationship, and I got on antidepressants. And since competing, I'm about 20 pounds heavier than I was then. And even though it's been a few years since my life was like that, for some reason, I'm still stuck on the fact that I'm 20 pounds heavier than I used to be. Logically, I know it doesn't matter. You know, if this was you saying this to me, I'd be like, of course you're 20 pounds heavier. Who cares? Why would you expect yourself to be the same weight you were when you were a competitive athlete? Obviously. But when it's me, that goes out the window. So I'm constantly comparing myself to who I was several years ago. It was completely different circumstances. But in my mind, all I think about is, well, you're 20 pounds heavier. I don't know why that's stuck in my head as much as it is, but my body's changed a lot. It's a lot softer than it used to be, which, why wouldn't it be? Like, I have neither the interest nor the energy, to spend 2 hours a day in the gym. Like, that chapter is closed. That body went away with it. And that's something I just have to figure out how to accept that and make peace with it, and I'm still not there. We change over time. Just because you were a very happy child doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna be a happy adult. If your hormones might be changing and you're starting to struggle with depression and anxiety, just get the help you need. It really doesn't matter, well, but I used to be this way. Like, you used to be, but you're not anymore. So you have to act differently so that you can start to feel better. Same thing with your weight. If you, as my friend, were telling me what I just told you, I'd say, yeah, you're bigger than you used to be because you used to train like a maniac. You were a different person then. This is who you are now. This is the body you exist in now, and that's okay. All of this kind of leads me to remind myself that we never really have it all figured out. You know, like when I was still training and I was very lean and very muscular, for me anyhow, and I was eating a lot, I was like, okay, cool, this is my life now. I love this. I could definitely get used to this. And I thought, great, I finally got it figured out. I finally know how to have the body that I want. Except I got that body under pretty extreme circumstances. When I first started my antidepressants and they were working so well, I was like, okay, cool, fixed, done, we're good, we can move on. But most things in life don't last forever. They don't work forever. Eventually, the antidepressants weren't working as well. So I go back to the doctor and she says, you just need a little more. Okay, so we bump the dosage. And it's the same thing with working out and, you know, your body image. You probably don't look the same way as you did 10 years ago, nor are you supposed to, because your body changes over time. And furthermore, what you wanted and needed back then probably isn't the same as what you want and need right now. And again, that's okay. But I feel like we have to learn to separate a little bit who we are today from who we used to be, because what worked back then might not work today, and that's okay. I'm saying this over and over again, as much for myself as I am for you, because I need the reminders. Also, last thing I want to leave you with, there's nothing wrong with going to therapy. Therapy is great. I love going to therapy. Someone gets paid to listen to you complain. I think that's pretty cool. There's nothing wrong with having to take medicine. When my doctor, my therapist first told me, okay, let's try putting you on antidepressants, I was like, oh, no. Because I had it stuck in my head, like, I want to fix this the natural way. Well, guess what? I tried that and I couldn't. I couldn't fix it. No matter what I did, I still felt like all day, every day. So I got to a point when I was like getting kind of desperate. And I had to tell myself, well, nothing else has worked, so why don't I try it her way? And so now, every day, I take a teeny tiny little pill that makes me feel normal. And guess what? That little pill saved my life. I never thought about taking my life, but I thought about how much easier it would be if I just didn't wake up the next morning. I went to bed many nights and thought, if I don't wake up tomorrow, it's okay. So if you're struggling, go see a doctor, go see a healthcare provider or a mental health professional, and get the help and the support that you need. Well, I'm pretty proud of myself. I got on camera on day 3 of my period after lunch with my little food baby and my underwear lines hanging out, so I say we accomplished a lot this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope maybe it brought you a little bit of comfort. And again, I love connecting with you guys. So drop me a comment, say hello, let me know how your week is going, and I'll see you in the next video. That's it for today. And I love you bunches. You are beautiful. You are needed. And you're very special. I'm glad you're here.